All right, everybody. Thank you for jumping on the Training Day podcast. This week, we got a very special guest, a brand new inductee to the Family First Life Hall of Fame. How does that sound, buddy?
Sounds good.
Chris Casarez down in it's Virginia, right?
Yep, Virginia Beach, Virginia.
Virginia Beach. And you know what? What we always try to do on this podcast, Chris, is highlight success in any form. You know, it could be all types of aha moments to Hall of Fame, to Hall of Fame manager. And I think that to get to the Hall of Fame by the end of June, is a lot of torque. So congratulations, my man, on what you're doing out there. You're on pace for at minimally an $800,000 year, which you guys are like, this is like video game numbers. I mean, like what you, Steve, Rob, and even I thought Brad Allen just hit the hall. Is that right? I mean, it's silly. By June, I mean,
it's like 5 more people getting ready.
Right there. I mean, that speaks to the testament of what Family First Life has become, man. This is a machine of a platform for people average ordinary people, which we're going to find out how ordinary and average you were, right? To look where you are now. And look at that watch on your wrist, bro. I mean, you're completely crushing. So, Chris, man, if you could kind of give us an intro, right, to who you are, kind of where you came from, and how you came to this level of success. We'll start with that. I appreciate you, buddy, for jumping on.
All right. So, I was in the car business for about 13 years. A lot of people have heard my story, but I'll run through it again real quick. Working way from sales to finance to sales manager to general sales manager. So right under the top, essentially.
Got it.
Essentially ran the dealership. So outside of that, I had the pleasure of working with Mr. Shannon Womble through the last largely, and I was in the big dealer world, Toyota.
Got it.
All the major brands, not a rinky-dink type dealership.
So you were killing it already, is that right?
You said what?
You were killing it already?
I mean, yeah. I came from making, ballpark 180, 200.
Okay, good. That's good money.
Yeah. Yeah, no. So I thought, right?
Right.
Then we see Family First Life stuff. See, here's the difference is that I was giving up 60, 70, 80 hours of my week. I have a wife and 3 kids.
Got it.
Been my wife since we were 14 years old.
Wow.
She's been through everything with me. And yeah, I mean, there's some weeks where I leave before they got up and come home after they were all set for bed. Sometimes I didn't see my family for 4 or 5 days, 6 days straight. Okay, well, saw them, but didn't get to spend it in real time.
Got it.
And that quality time is so important when the kids are young.
Ooh.
So I know you have kids, and
yes,
you
sir.
understand that.
It's great. I get it.
Yeah, the pleasure working with Shannon Womble. But what had happened is the company I worked for, they had moved me over to one of their locations to take it over as GSM. So we 2 to 3 times the bottom line by the end of the year. Set several records. And then the beginning of the next year, which was, I want to say 2018. I can't even remember because I don't care anymore about them. Mm-hmm. So they proposed a 50% pay cut from the 180, 200 that I was making after a record year. So that was a real kick in the teeth. I got it, and 2 days later packed my desk because I knew what I was capable of. And and I had enough money, so I started wholesaling cars, doing my own thing, working my own schedule. And in the interim, Mr. Womble kept working for that company, and somebody introduced him to this, and then he hopped in my Facebook inbox after we probably hadn't spoke for 4 or 5 months, maybe. Just thought over, hey, just got became a part of this company. I want you to take a look at it. I think you kill it. And and then that was kind of all she wrote.
Really?
So I looked at it, and less than a week later had my exam course passed. I'm sorry, I had the licensing test passed.
Wow.
It took a little bit.
Wait. Before you do that, what did you see when he hit your inbox? What did you see that made you go, this is way better than what I'm doing now, or at least needs some of my time?
See, that's the thing. So it was funny because when I went to wholesaling, I was making pretty much what I was making while working for them, while working for an actual dealer group. And I had my time. I was working 10, 12, 15 hours a week. popping in and out of the auctions once, twice a week, transporting cars, getting fixed and deliver them to wherever they were going, whoever bought them. And I just saw the opportunity. So that was a real solo mission, right? There's no team, there's no nothing. So when I took a look at this, I saw the opportunity to build a team. And to get that, what I was used to for years, I led teams for years. And I miss that. I miss the personalities and the banter and having fun and helping somebody else figure out the craft and make money, etc. I mean, I missed that kind of stuff. And what I really felt was this is I talked about it on my Inside the Sale, but somebody was on the board for $163,000 of submitted business that week. I know what that means now, right? So I'm like, dang. I'm like, babe, look, I've been dealing with general public for 13 years. I'm really good at just people. So I'm like, look, it'll cost me about $1,000 between, getting the exam done, background check, leads, etc., to see if any of this is real. And when I started digging into Family First Life and matching the names from the leaderboards and really digging and finding the people on Facebook, even friend requesting some of them, to get in and see, okay, this person was up on that same leaderboard for $30,000 that week, right? Let me go into his personal profile and see what kind of life he's living, because that could just be inflated number. And just there was 10, 15, 20 people that I dug off the leaderboards that I was like, well, everything matches. So yeah. I mean, I was sold. So I knew I was making,
That's
12 to 15 grand a month working when I felt like it, wholesaling cars. And I'm like, well, based off this, I could do that a week and build a team. And I understood the building side and what that could be. Congratulations on your integrity deal, by the way. That's a big deal. So I'm chasing that for sure. After having that sit down with Sean, Mike in Florida a couple weeks back, I made a lot of things clear, which is why I got the office here. So
okay, I love it. So you see the end from the beginning right now, which I like. But I mean, your numbers are silly in a good way. I remember at some point, you kind of saying, hey, I remember reading a post where you were talking about the suits that you wear, and how you wear suits to appointments. I'd love to get behind that, and then start talking about some of your video game numbers and how you're getting there.
Gotcha. So, being in finance and selling intangibles for 4 or 5 years, and that's where I actually made, well, I guess the second most money I've ever made. Finance, I hovered 170, 180 ballpark, and that was getting good at painting the picture. And once I figured out that this is the same thing, but a lot more serious than the vehicle breaking down, that changed things a lot. So last year, I ran 25, 30 appointments like clockwork every week. And it was dressed like this, and I had, tattoos everywhere. So I could just see, clientele, because, everybody has their own opinion. And sorry, as you well know, Marc, I've been on the phone all day. Between Zooms and phone, let me plug in.
Are you charging up? Take your time, brother.
Charger here. My phone just hit me.
I'd rather you charge it than it die.
So I was running 25, 30 appointments last year, like clockwork, which is, of course, what we preach to do. And yeah, I could just see clients, while I'm speaking to them, they're looking at my tattoos, they're trying to read them. Some had just, I can tell when something's uncomfortable. And I didn't like it because although I was talking, getting my presentation, didn't skip a beat, I could feel the judgment. Follow?
Got it.
So I came from, again, working deals with banks, structuring stuff, numbers, just left and right all day. So the annuities and IUL side made a lot of sense to me once I figured that product out. So in my mind, it was basically, if I want to talk to somebody about their money, right, and they come from a generation where tattoos aren't acceptable,
right,
then for one, I need to cover up, and for two, I need to look like their financial advisor.
Got it.
Because then right off Jump Street, the second they open the door, and I get it a lot, they'll open the door and literally look me up and down, like, man, that's a nice suit. I like that, right?
A little bit different than the tattoo look.
That respect from. So then when I can talk a good game, with accuracy and sound like their financial advisor and even smarter a lot of times, it's kind of an easy ordeal. But it just demands respect right from the moment they lay eyes on me and we shake hands and I look them, that eye contact, a good handshake. And when I sit down and lay at the table, I explain to them that I'm going to dig very deep into their lives and into their finances. And I get that okay up front. And then everything is just, I keep it simple, but they understand I really know what I'm doing.
All right, so lay that out for me. You walk into a house, you know what I'm saying? And you say, lay that out. How do you get into that? Obviously, the suit is kind of speaking its own language because I've seen the suits. They seem real fitted.
Yeah, look, I go as far as to match the tie with the lapel and the handkerchief and the watch.
Yeah, I got you.
It's coordinated to the sense of I'm a perfectionist by nature, and they won't be able to see a flaw.
So lay that out. When you walk into the home, walk us down the path of what it sounds like from you.
So obviously, we go to the door. Some people have to lead out. I don't. I even went as far as to get a really nice leather bag. Just the whole complete ordeal.
I like it, dude.
So when I walk in, they already know I'm not there to give quotes, right? And I explain that at the table if that ever comes up. But as you can well see, I smile a lot and I like to have a lot of fun. And they get that right off top too. But they also understand that it's business. So the reason why I'm reaching for this is I have these things laminated. So our credibility sheet, my license laminated behind that.
Got it.
And then my instant icebreaker.
Your family.
So although they're like, who's this guy in the suit? This lets them know that I'm just a regular person. Right?
That's awesome.
Got a family at home. And I tell them, yeah, it's a nice suit. This is the nicest you'll ever see me because when I get off, I'm going to be in shorts and
I love that.
Probably a tank top.
I love it.
So I joke with them in that instance.
That's great.
Because I don't want it to feel overwhelming.
Yeah, that's
so
really
I let them know I have a personality on top of that. So when I first sit down, I have the lead out, slide it over, and I ask which one of them filled it out. And if the husband says I did, I'll say, well, ma'am, Mary, right? We always say John and Mary a lot. So I say, Mary, were you aware that John filled this out? And if she says no, I'll say, no problem, John. It seems like you're just like me. I want to make sure my wife's protected. Right? But if they say yes, I'll say, well, at least you guys communicate. Because a lot of couples I sit with don't. Immediate pat on the back.
No doubt.
So stolen from a small clip that Smitty uploaded some point last year. No doubt. I followed that up with, well, when you had filled this out, John and Mary, what was the main concern? That way I know how to best guide you while I'm here. And they'll tell me. And then we'll go on the path. So exactly how I do it is, well, great. Whatever they answer, doesn't matter. So the reason why they send me out is because I represent about 17 different carriers, right? A lot of which I'm sure you're familiar with, and they always say yes. I say, okay, so I handle mortgage protection. I handle all forms of life insurance. And the reason why mortgage protection and life insurance are separate here is because mortgage protection comes with certain features designed for the homeowner. And I'll get into that. I said, but what I really specialize in is retirement income planning and retirement preservation. And that's triggered a couple, really. Yeah, we've been looking for somebody.
That's amazing.
Never understood. I've been sat with several of David Powell's trainings where he's like, yeah, this happened. And I'm like, God, I wish that happened to me. Right? It happened to the tune of $590,000 worth of annuities a few weeks ago that are getting ready to fund.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's different.
So then I turn around, I tell them that I have my license here. So well, this is my state license to do what I do. Right. And I actually put my home address on here. And I tell them I have my home address on here instead of my office because I'm a stranger going into people's houses. So if you're going to become one of my clients, I want you to know that you can come knock on my front door too.
Wow.
And that's a real, you kind of see it come off them, right? And I'm like, here. And a lot of times I'll have the phone out on the table. I'll push that across the table and say, go ahead, take a picture of that.
Oof.
So after that, I say, just to let you know I'm a regular person and you can look past the suit. Here are the most important things in the world to me, right? And they always go, oh my God, these are kids, right? Immediately.
Love it.
So I'm no longer the sales guy in a suit trying to sell them something.
Amen.
I'm a nice family man. Now they have my home address. They know who I represent, and they know what I specialize in.
That's strong. That's real
And then
strong.
I tell them I have the financial inventory. I say, well, so all these carriers, the plans are not medical, majority of. So I'm going to run through some basic health questions with you, but I'm going to go through some detailed financial questions with you, because if I'm set with a couple, I say, because John, I need to know what it looks like if you die, and if you die to marry. I need to know what both sides look like. So if I'm with a couple, I can say maybe twice this year I've written one policy in a home with a couple.
Wow.
So, yeah, and I tell them, I'm going to ask you some detailed financial questions, and I have the sheet turned to them so they can kind of see what the questions will kind of be. They can see 401k and they can see all that on the paper.
Right.
So they already know I'm getting ready to ask. So I tell them, as long as you allow me to do that, I'll be able to give you the best professional recommendation possible so we can make sure your family is in the best position possible. So if you're ready to proceed, then I'll move forward.
Just like that.
So good. Yeah, are we good to proceed? And this it's eye contact the entire time I'm set at the table. Because again, demeanor, voice, yes, I build that rapport with the family picture. Mm-hmm. But demeanor, rapport, eye contact lets them know we're getting ready to put something in place today.
I like that. Is this the eye contact?
Yes, I'm going to.
Is this the eye contact and the demeanor and the voice tone that you give?
This is it. I mean, I don't change.
Because I'm feeling like I'm about to buy something right now. I'm just being honest with you.
But yeah, that's how I set the table, and they just kind of walked the path with me, and because I've done so much studying. So what I left out upon passing the exam and getting my license, there was about a 2-month wait period. And really since the day I was introduced to this, I have been training for hours and hours and hours every single day. Just got off the AMS call. And if anybody missed that with Sean Ruggiero this week, and you've never done an annuity presentation, you need to put that on repeat.
I have so much to say right now, because I just think that a lot of new producers need to understand the level of professionalism it takes to be excellent. And even if you shoot for excellent and you become good, you're doing pretty well. And you basically reverse. I'm getting a picture into your mind, but I love the way you reverse engineered your approach. Because a lot of people do the jeans and shirt and no big deal. And I'm not mad at that. But I love that you said, you know what? I feel like this prejudgment is taking away from my ability to do my job at the highest level. So I'm going, you know what I'm saying? Like,
there was an immediate switch.
Yeah, and then, but you understand, people will not, they'll be like, no, I'm just going to be me. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be me. That's the society in which we live today, where I got the tattoos, I'm not knocking anybody. I'm basically going towards your approach to go, dude, I'm losing money right now. You're not apologizing for the tattoos. You're just a businessman. You know what I'm saying? So you reverse engineer your approach, and then you do things. So you wear the suit. You make sure it matches and do the things you want to do to make sure you feel the way you need to feel. But then you reverse engineer the approach.
It brings a level of confidence, because when you look good, you feel good.
No doubt. But then you go in and tell them how regular you are, and how here's my address and here's my family, and I'm going to be in tank tops and shirts tonight. It's the most dressed. So it's a complete reverse engineering of the approach, but it makes you feel like you have an edge in the business, because they now see you as someone who's here to conduct business and take care of not just the lead that you got, mortgage, final expense, but also the entire, familial picture, whatever it is. Is that correct? Is that fair enough?
Yeah, correct. Yep, that's accurate. Mm-hmm.
So I just love the fact that, again, you're your own business. You're basically your own brand. You chose to take your branding this way, and it works for you. And I think one of the things that that I want to highlight here is, number one, you can pick and choose how you want to do this business. You're independent. But also, I want to highlight the hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of training. Now, if I dovetail those hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of training and your approach to how you deal with your appearance and your in-home and the way you lay out your information, you're a professional, bro. So
that's exactly what I'm looking for when I go in the home.
Right? So
that way there is no question. There is no, I don't ever get I don't even know who you are. Right. I don't get the bank account issue. I don't get the social issues. I rarely get I need to think about it, or I need to, whatever. Wow. I rarely get it, because by the end of it, I've had several people. I mean, I didn't know you're going to ask this much.
Wow.
If I knew that, I would have had all this you're asking for out when you got here, the policies, the 401k statements, this, because there's several times where if I ask for a statement or if I ask for a policy, I'm sitting there and wait for them to get it.
All right, let's do this.
I mean,
because this is too.
I
didn't know
back 1 out of 50 times.
I know how much annuity business you write, but I really didn't know it was this intense. I want to hear about this. So, could you do me a favor? Can you break down your financial inventory and what questions you ask and why? Because I think that will help the audience, and even if even if I feel like it's going to take people to like this advanced place, I think people
I'm going to keep it very simple.
Okay, let's do it.
Very, very simple.
Let's do it.
So, look, funny enough, even down to the the leather portfolio loans in there. So, financial inventory wise, I run through the same questions as everybody else, but this will help me kind of keep it on course here. So, basically, places where I find the money is, for one, are they paying anything? Are you paying anything additional to try to pay down your mortgage more aggressively? That's number one. Are you paying anything extra on the mortgage? But that's the way I'd say it.
Got it.
And so, on financial inventory I use, got a question: how much money are you saving every month? That's not how I ask it. I say, now, aside from that, you guys saving anything, setting anything aside every month? Rainy day fund. Most of my clients are doing between, $200, $300, $500. Whereabouts do you guys?
I love that.
So I'm feeding it to them. And even if they don't do anything, they'll still save $200.
I love that too.
So, right. So, then we talk about the 401k. So, if they're actively working. I ask them, now I'm sure you got a 401k through the job, or I have a lot of military in the area.
Got it, yes.
And so I ask them about TSP. So I say, so monthly, how much, what percentage of your income are you setting aside, to obviously hopefully one day retire? Are you more aggressive, like most of my clients, like 8, 10, 12, 15%, or I just kind of leave it like that?
Yeah,
and I'm kind of like, physically, it's exactly how I do it, right?
I like it.
And I can't help it.
I love it.
So,
I need all the animation, brother.
They'll say whatever. Let's just say they say, yeah, I'm doing 10%. Yeah. Okay, great. So how much of that is your company matching? So let's just say they say, my company's matching 5. So, okay, great. So now, let's just say it's the 401k. So now that additional 5%, you're familiar with the stock market, right? They'll say, oh, yeah, of course. No, yeah, they agreed it can go up and it can go down, correct? And they'll say, well, of course. Okay, so that additional 5%, keep the 5 that your company's matching, but that additional 5% is subject to loss. Right. So if they're making, let's just keep it easy and say $4,000 a month, right? That's another $200. So I said, well, what I do with a lot of my clients, I can show you how to reallocate that, maybe into the coverage we're talking about, to make sure, because again, in the market, you can lose that money. This coverage never changes. So that additional $200, that's above and beyond that you're allowing them to essentially gamble your money with, to hopefully come out on top and have a decent retirement. But I can show you how to reallocate that into either this coverage or in a place that you can also set aside monthly, but you can never lose money. And also has a bunch of tax benefits down the road for getting towards when you do want to retire. Is that something you'd be interested in? They all say yes. And then after that, then I ask them, after all of those, is after I'm done with the whole financial inventory, it's now, are you setting aside anything additional, like specifically for retirement, something private outside of work, like an IRA or something like that? I mean, I picked up $500, $1,500 here recently for $18,000 APIUL, you know. So yeah, anything additional on your mortgage? You setting anything aside additional savings wise? How much are you putting in your 401k above beyond the match? And are you doing anything separately outside of your job to go to retirement? And I kind of tail that off by saying, because I know you don't want to work forever, right? It's just little trigger things that makes them answer or makes them smile.
These word tracks.
And just always
really good, really seasoned. People should be learning here. This is very good. This is very. You could tell you've been in sales a while, and you've been in front of people for a long time. You've watched body. You've watched body movements for a long time, and it's okay if it's your first time doing this, or your 10th time doing this, or your 40th time doing this. For me, Chris, all I'm ever trying to do is learn from people that are doing it better than me, and just watch it over again and again, or hear it over again and again and again and again. So I don't need to be them. I just need to take a couple pieces of the technique that they're doing.
I'm just a compilation of a lot of people.
Right.
A lot of people. You, Matt Smith, Rosario, Luke Bohaj, some newbies I pulled little stuff from. Smitty, I pulled some stuff from. You know, I just, again, constantly studying. Studying. And word tracks matter a lot. Mm-hmm. The words you utilize in the home, a lot.
No doubt. Excellent stuff. It definitely speaks to the 400,000 that you've written through June. What are you doing for lead flow, and how many appointments typically are you currently running a week now?
So it's kind of, Luke's mentioned it before, so I guess I can kind of let the cat out of the bag because it's taboo. So when you're last year, I ran 25, 30 plus appointments, however many I could set in a week, because as I've said before in one of our separate trainings, leads are your tuition, right? So that's where you learn. And getting to your first 100 appointments, and really it probably took me longer than that to figure out how to keep stuff on the books, right? Because it doesn't matter how many policies you're writing, you get put in your bank account, it's about what you keep.
Yes, sir.
So I learned that lesson last year. Because I came in closing like this is the car business, and it was the car payment, just money, budget. Very little picture painting, very little tie down at the end to make sure it does stay on the books, and they do indeed see the appointment. I wasn't talking too many people down on a premium. It's funny because I probably talking people down on a premium, I probably could have hit it in April. But I've talked a lot of people down off a premium this year, which is now, I mean, I don't know what it is recently, but when America's ordeal ended, I was at like 93% persistency.
Wow.
So that was up from around 70. You know, so that's a big deal. But in terms of lead flow, and I said all that to say this, is that because I've done so much studying, I have dialed into the advanced market side of things. So this year, I only run about 8 to 12 appointments a week.
Wow. And
sometimes 15. And I have 2 mortgage lead sources, and then that's about it.
Got it. So strictly mortgage leads.
Yeah.
And 12 to 15 appointments a week. And I need people to understand, like, you don't have to run 25, 30 appointments the rest of your life.
You'll burn out.
And not only do you not have to, you shouldn't. You should be working on something to find some type of balance, but you should certainly work as hard as like you said. I worked 25 to 30 appointments last week, booked whatever I could, and then you studied your way into a different vertical. You know what I'm saying? You studied your way into an easier lifestyle. Same money, probably more money. Okay.
More. Yeah.
And
more. So in 8 months last year, I did 278 learning this thing. Mm-hmm. And I don't know where my average policy was. Probably was somewhere around $1,000, $1,200. As of this past month, Luke always does my numbers, which I appreciate him for. He's a great mentor. My average policy is around like 2,900 AP, somewhere in that ballpark.
Got it.
So I get to dial it back quite a bit, just more efficient in the home, moving a lot of money, a lot of big IULs. But still, life business, I've done over 200 grand of life, probably 250-ish
Makes
of
sense.
what I've done.
I love it, man. And I think that you see, that's how this business should be run. You know, you should find a way to become more skilled, to become a better question asker, to, you know, make your schedule a little bit more amenable to you and your family. That's the whole, why we're all doing this, you know. But you talked earlier about business building and how you really see that and how you built teams in the past and you really are intrigued by the team side of this. So why don't we get into that a little bit? What are you guys doing now, team-wise? How many writers per month on average, and what are you guys doing production-wise?
So when I heard the story about really how, don't know how much details in there about how Sean Mike started the company, I heard a lot of it from him too, that he just basically ran his face off for 3 to 4 months, issuing 70, 100 grand and put it all back in the family first, right, to get it off the ground. Plus some money on the Amex card he talks about, right? Leads. So
all legit, man. Mind, I watched it.
Go ahead.
I said it was all legit. I watched it.
Yeah. So I said, well, if that's how Sean did it, that's how I'm going to do it. Right? It's cash flow. You need cash flow to build it properly and quickly and aggressively.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I kind of set out to do this year. That's what I told you when we were first talking about putting this on, that I just ran for the cash flow. And I say that to say I have 3 or 4 active writers, but we hover 120 to 150-ish. Okay. And that's, majority of that obviously has been me.
Yeah.
But that was for the cash flow.
Okay.
So now I have 6 or 7 getting ready to come out of contracting. It's getting, I'm looking at several different, so I'm going to be shifting. And the reason why I dialed back the lead sources on the sales side is because I saw what a proper investment would look like on the building side, really, which is a lot more aggressive than the sales lead side.
No doubt.
So, to build it how I want to build it.
Yeah.
So, it's none of this for me. None of it do I want to be anything feeling like part-time. I took about 8 to 12 appointments a week, but I'm always doing something for business.
That's great. And I want people, I love it. I even love the way you talk about it. Like, so you're creating cash, your design right now is to create cash flow so that you can, and create time. Your model is, I'm going to create cash flow and time, and I'm going to reallocate that cash flow and that time into my business. Correct?
Correct.
And it feels like, maybe you just got that aha moment within the last few months, maybe, or within the last 6 months. But
no, it was maybe 6 months, I guess we'll say, like turn of the year.
Okay.
Because I talked about it on my other interview here on Inside the Sale here this week. But I was running so hard and my bills were so big, and I take care of multiple family members and just help out. I have 5 figures. We ain't just talking 10 grand. It's 5 figures plus of bills and responsibilities. And I had a scenario where, again, I was selling off budget, so I had some big chargebacks. Hit me. Had $3,200, I think it was, hit me in lead flow because I was turning on my mortgage stuff. And, paying, and all of a sudden, more mortgages started dropping. So I had my current lead flow and then an additional 3,200 and then 2 mortgages due, and then this.
Sure.
And 5 days before my daughter's birthday party, which we had secured the venue and put the deposit, but hadn't fully paid for, I woke up to negative $544 in my account.
Wow.
This is when I was running 25, 30 appointments. Because the bills were so big and I was not watching the lead budget and what was coming out, that it all hit in a matter of like 3 or 4 days. And I hadn't seen a negative in my account for 10 plus years.
Wow.
So I got scared. Obviously, freaking out. I had 10 grand worth of bills. Leads got covered and paid, obviously, but they weren't all in yet. But I did have a big old binder full of leads, a couple of them. And so I went to work for like 5 days and issued 23 grand. And that was a big turning point for me.
Wow.
And it's not. I sold the building when I first started. The cash flow wasn't there because if you aren't setting enough appointments, closing enough deals, and keeping enough deals on the books, right, it's really hard to invest at the level that I want to into this. Yes, you can here and there and slowly, gradually build it. But kind of how I got in this, I completely stopped doing what I was doing and jumped 2 feet in family first life. And then, now I'm 2 feet into the building side, having a business budget of 5 figures and potentially multiple 5 figures if it gets structured how I want it monthly.
Dude, you're a clinic, dude. You're a clinic all in one. You could teach. You probably do in your sphere in Virginia Beach and in Northwest. But dude, you could teach a lot of people, man. Because
that's what I'm planning on doing.
This is the deal. Back. Like, I mean, dude, we've all screwed up money. I'm sorry. I mean, I butchered. My story. I'd be like, I mean, it's just at epic proportions, butchered money. But it's learning and adapting and making changes and moving stuff around and outworking your situation like you did, running 23 grand in 1 week. Like this is a clinic on reinventing, focusing on the big picture at all times, but finding your way methodically and reinventing yourself as you go. And I wish more people would do this, and that's kind of what I didn't realize we were gonna get here today, but I'm glad we did, because this is not a perfect journey. This is not a perfect walk. This is not this is about trials, tribulations, successes, opportunities, and learning from your opportunities and growing from your opportunities. You get more educated in your lapses or your failures or your opportunities than you do in your successes. Would you agree with that, Chris?
100%. When you talk about that, right, it makes me think, because I was going to say it earlier, but I'll say it now because I left it out. Last year, the reason why, so in October, November timeframe, I decided to start studying daily on the advanced markets. Because last year, I calculated up. I don't throw away a financial inventory or a client worksheet because I reevaluate all the time. And last year, I found like $9.6 million between all the appointments, and I wrote 500,000 and some change.
Wow!
So in my mind, I cost myself multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars by not studying.
Wow!
So I said that's never going to happen again. So in 8 months, I wrote like 500 grand, and in 6 months, I think I just crossed 2 million, and I got another probably 900 getting ready to drop here in the next few weeks.
That's crazy.
So I'm trying to hit that 5 million before the end of the year.
I love it, man. Listen, man, I appreciate you taking time to jump on here. I would love to get you back on, man, because there's a lot in there. I can't get out on one podcast, but there's a lot in there, man.
I know. But I love, as I told you when you asked me, I'm like anything for the company. But it doesn't matter. And I like, so when I speak, I'm also talking to myself because I go through my own days even now. Mm-hmm. Like everybody sees the numbers, but I say we just because, Pat talks with Steve and Rob and Brad Allen and stuff. Yeah. We have our bad days. We have our bad moments, and our mindsets, we're human, so it's not always going to be perfect every day, and money's not everything.
Right.
So when I do these and talk about the business, man, it reignites everything.
Right.
That's why we have trainings almost every day.
Right.
Whether it be through the corporate platform or through our smaller group, or I'm just trying to talk about the business every day.
Makes
so
sense.
I never forget it. Like I never stray from the path.
What would be a great parting shot you can give everybody who wants to climb the ladder, who wants to grow, who wants to come in and kind of make a mess but clean up their mess? What would you say?
Same thing I drove home with everybody is train. It doesn't matter what you want to do. It doesn't matter what job you work now, or whether it be the gym, or whether it be, I don't know, you want to be a good golfer, right? Mm-hmm. It's consistent training. consistent training of what we do is very simple,
Mm,
and
that's great.
there's only a finite amount of skills that you have to be good at this, and
Mm,
not even like, well, like to be great at this. You don't even have to be great. You just put the numbers in your favor. But to make the shift from the amount of appointments I'm running now from last year is fine tuning, just fine tune constantly reevaluating. But training has pushed me to the level that I am now, because without it, it's, like Paul McLean says, you can't do set of sit ups and get up and expect to have an 8-pack or a 6-pack. You can't. So if you're only tuning into P&L on Friday or whatever, 1-2 trainings out of the week, even if it's all 4 trainings from corporate, right? That's not enough.
yeah.
I've done so much outside training. Every single video Family First Life has ever released, I've watched once and some 20, 30, 40, 50 times. If I found a nugget in there that I wanted to say exactly how it was delivered in there. I don't miss anything we release. I don't miss our trainings, the smaller trainings here. When I'm not training on all that, I'm training another agent. And sometimes I come up with stuff off the top of my head that I'm like, dang, that's pretty good. I need to write that one down. Because when an agent asks you the same question 2, 3, 4, 5 times,
Right.
I try to answer it different ways to make it stick.
Yeah.
Right. And you have to become pretty creative sometimes when you do that. I'm like, man, that was pretty good. So it's just always training, always training. That's the only way to get better at whatever it is you're going through in life, period.
Amen.
So, yeah, the relationships, it all applies.
Dude, amazing, dude. I honestly can't wait to get you back on here. Congratulations to all your success. I can only imagine what is happening with your business building efforts and how hard you're going on that right now and what's in the works. And I think a lot of people need to understand, you're like that duck kicking under the water. You don't really see it moving, but the feet are moving, right? So you're finally at a place where cash flow is rich. You have identity. Like, you're not confused about your identity, which is huge, for people. And then now this whole business building side and actually going for the whole pie, with an integrity deal.
And look, I'm not afraid to put all of this cash back into it. Because you want to know why? Because I can just do it all again.
Right.
And do it all again.
And that's it.
That's
bro.
what training does. It's a riding a bike. You just never lose it.
I love it.
So I know if I spend all of this trying to build it and it's not going as fast as I want, for one, I need to tap into my mentors. But for two, I can go out in 5 days and do 23 grand.
Crazy thing
That's
is,
what that 1 week opened up for me.
It's like leads. You're never going to put it all in and not get it back. You're never going to put it in and not counsel. You're never going to put it in and not dial. You're never, you know what I'm saying? So on the business building side, you're going to put it in and counsel. You're going to ask people who are successful, who have walked before you, and you're going to say, hey, what do you see? What do you see? You're going to seek wise counsel. So you're going to always get better, man. You put money in activates your ability to go do the work. That's what it equals. It's investment. You invested your heart, your soul, your money, your time. You get it on the other side. So congratulations again, my man. And looking forward to seeing how the rest of the year shapes out for you. If there's anything we can ever do, just please let me know. And appreciate everybody for jumping on. Let's make it a big week. Chris, thank you, man. God bless.